So I'm convinced that we would all become better traders if we thought about trading as a video game or some kind of a game that we are playing. First of all, it'd be a lot more fun, right? So I'm just going to call this gamifying. So gamifying your trading, and I'm going to compare this to Pac-Man today. And one of the reasons I like to compare this to gaming is that when we play games, we never seem to look at failing as a negative. When we fail a level, I can think of the times I played Pac-Man, Mario, Contra, even like Madden when I was younger. When I lost, all I wanted to do was play again. That failing was educational. It taught me things that I didn't want to do again, and so I could win. When we lose, we want to play again and again and again. I think we've all been there. And when we play video games, um, emotions aren't a huge problem. Yeah, they can be a problem, but they're not crippling. We're having fun. We're with friends. Yes, somebody might get angry and storm out of the room, but it's not like with trading, where sometimes trading emotions can make somebody crippled with fear. But also in games, you've got chimes and you've got leaderboards, and they're all motivational. And so I wanted to show you today how trading can actually be like Pac-Man. And that has to do with this indicator down here, the PSAR, the parabolic stop and reverse. And so I don't know if it's going to quite cooperate with us when we do this on demand. Sometimes that can get glitchy. But you'll see in a regular trading day, if you use PSAR, that the actual bars will chomp up this dot, and the dot will go to the upside if puts, are in play. And it's kind of fun to watch because you can see just chomp, 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 and it just like eats up the dot. And those are the benchmarks that I use, right? So PSAR is one of them, a parabolic stop and reverse indicator. The first thing we look at, though, of course, is trend lines, right? So we've got a resistance line here for sure. We've got spinning tops, we've got doji candles at resistance lines up here, and that's just telling us that's maybe reached the ceiling for the day. The 820 EMA clouds, they reveal sentiment. So the 8 EMA is the green and the 20 EMA is the red. And if this can ever get down below the 20 EMA, then we have a very solid chance of a reversal. And then this cloud in here would actually reverse to a different color as well, to a red color. VWAP, that literally stands for volume weighted average price, and that's this yellow line right here. And right now it just means as the volume that's coming in, it's weighted to the buy side. And if it ever gets below that, then the volume is weighted to the sell side. And I have some videos out there that go into these a little bit more in detail, but I just wanted to review some of that here. So I'm going to come over here to Active Trader, and I'm going to click play. I don't know that we're going to get the benefit of seeing the Pac-Man reversal right here just because of a possible glitch when when this actually goes through and simulates. But during a regular trading day, you'll see that. We might even be able to see that down here on this yellow underneath the 1 minute. So underneath the VWAP, you might be able to see this dot getting chomped up. So you can see this is breaking down, and so now I'm starting to get my play in order and where my entry might be. And so I will kind of move this around and play with this a little bit, but I'm going to try to buy 10 contracts here. And that's not where I want that to be right now because I want it to be underneath the 20. So let's see if I can try that again and see if it pops up in the right spot. Not quite where I want it to be. All right. Work with us here. You can see right now these okay, so if you watch the chomping here, you can see that happen right there, and the 1 minute chomped up the PSAR. Now that's a decent sign right there. If we've got resistance up here at the top and the 1 minute PSAR chomped, that's a pretty good indication that a reversal is coming. However, I want that just to be serving as an anticipatory indicator, and I do want to see confirmation. And so right there underneath the 20, I have an order in for 10 contracts. And so now I'm going to go at a 3x speed here just on our simulation just to speed this up a little bit. Um, Kind of reminds me of the Madden days. We would actually simulate games with the college roommates, and whoever lost in the simulation would have to clean the dishes. Um, so yeah, that's pretty geeky. So you can see lower lows coming off of those highs. We're not in yet. We're not going to be rewarded for trying to get in early. We want to get in at the right time. And if we can get at the right time, there's plenty of opportunity to make money. Uh, Sometimes I might even just check to see if my buy is in the right place. Um, and yeah, that's where I want it. I want it sitting comfortably underneath the 20. I don't want a fake out here. And as soon as this gets filled, then we are going to try to lock in half of our position at a 20% gain. And any of you who have traded small caps, I mean, you know that's a big deal. A 20% gain is a big deal. That can make your day. But in options, if you can time your entries right, you can profit 20%. If you do it wrong, you can lose your 20% pretty fast. So now that this is sitting here, we can come back and take a look. This is that glitch I was talking about with these long wicks, and that will happen when you simulate a day. So just try to get this wick out of your mind and watch this get below the 20. And it might fight a little bit, but once that second candle opens below the 20, that's a pretty good indication. So now we just got filled. Okay, so we're in at $1.87, and I'm going to come back to the active trader here, and I am going to set my sell right away for half of that. Sometimes I'll sell more than half of that, but I want to sell half of this at 224 because that is 20%, a 20% gain. So we'll come back here and watch this on the bigger screen. We can even zoom in just a little bit just to have a better view of what's occurring here. So now you can see we've got a potential crossover here of the 820. So this green line here is looking to cross over on the red line, which is the 20 EMA. But you can see it's fighting a little bit. It doesn't want to really flush. It's also important to sit back and not to jump in too fast. I like to allow at least the first 30 minutes of trading to go by before I enter. And yet you can see if we just drag our benchmarks over here, straight lines, resistance has come in. We're watching these 820 clouds. We're expecting that this PSAR switch right up there, and the fact that it's below the 20, or sorry, below the VWAP will mean that it will get below the 20 at some point. So now I just kind of hover my cursor here to show that this right here is the new resistance, at least for now. And we still have our sell set right there. But now this reminds me pretty soon here of these chimes. So one of the reasons I like TD Ameritrade is that they'll have these little chimes in here, and it'll feel like you've gamified your trades, and it'll give you some good feedback when your sells have been filled. So let's see here. We can come back to the active trader. And this gets a little glitchy on the active trader. You can see now the sells are coming in at $2.10 probably if we look up there. And you can see we can even use this little minimizer here and you can see the whole board, and you can see where our sell is. Over here you can see that we're very close to filling this. Lower lows and lower highs. And that is getting really close right there. And if we're doing the math, let's see, 24 plus 13, 37, 37 times 5. So we're close to making $185 here in about 15 to 20 minutes. I do not like to have the dollar amounts over on the side over here, you can set this to show the money that you would make on a trade, but that causes me to make emotional decisions, and so I'm just providing that feedback on here right now. But this is a key moment right here. You can see how the 8 EMA and the 20 EMA are very close. They're pinching together. And if we can get a crossover here, then we're going to have a larger move on our day. We're going to have a continuation. And that's one of the final benchmarks that I'm actually looking for. So you can see this is a little bit off on its glitches here, and we should hear that chime very soon. I've found out in a normal trading day this matches, really well, but right now it's a little glitchy on this. So that's 184 bucks in about 5, 10, 15, almost 20 minutes. And now we want to sell the next one at 50%. And so $1.87 was our entry. And so that means we want to sell 3 more at $2.80. And that would be a 50% gain. Because every benchmark I'm seeing here says we are good to go. We are underneath the 20, we're underneath the 8. But if it would climb above VWAP, I would be getting out. This fought back pretty well here, but remember that line that we had set as resistance, it's testing that right now. And if it does come up and test VWAP, then that's a pretty good indication of where it's going to go from there. Sometimes it needs to come back up, retest before it will go back down further. So now we're at 9:35. We're about an hour into the trading day. So you can see we've got the 820 cross right here. We've got VWAP here, and we are still under that PSAR5. It is having a hard time with this support here at 340, basically 344. But you can see it looks like our sell at 50% will get filled. So there we go. That's about $300 there, and so now we're up $500 in less than an hour. We still have 2 spots, 2 contracts left, and so now what we want to do is we want to make sure that we can stay in this trade as long as we can. And so you can see right here, this was an area of resistance. And so we are going to take our 2 there, and we want to put it in a spot. I want to stay with this as long as I can. But one of the rules is once I'm green on something, I'm not going to allow myself to go red on it. So my stop is right here. You can see this is where we sold at 50%. It came down and it retested that area. And so I was able to fast forward to about 1 o'clock. But you can see this free fall that has now occurred, that we are now in a pretty strong downward channel, where we can just even draw it on there. And this is what we wanted to be a part of. Our stop now should not be all the way up here. Our stop, as I've fast forwarded here, we want to find a good area of resistance, and that is about right there. And so we're going to come back over, and remember our entry was at $1.87. And now these contracts are at $6.55. So if we come and we take a look at this little calculator I put together, $1.87, and now they're at $6.50, let's just say. That's about a 250% profit for just staying in the trade for as long as we could. So each one of those contracts that we had almost has netted $400 a piece. And so what we want to do is, when something like that occurs, I think it's a very good plan to sell at least one of them. And so we will sell at least one at $6.60. And we will come back and take a look and find out. Looks like it's flattening out on the day. And there is about 2 hours left. But we're going to let this one ride a little bit. We'll put the stop right here above 340.36. We're at 2 o'clock. And now these contracts are at $9.50. And so just staying in that trade allowed us to make $300 more and over 400% on that contract. If they can let me sell my $187 contract for $1,000, I'll do that. And so I'm going to set my sell limit right there at $1,000. For doing the math on that, that's almost 500%. This is one of those no-brainer days. You just let it run. $187 just turned into $1,000. Not too bad.